Today's sponsor is Audible.com, who has more than 180,000 audiobooks and spoken word audio products. Get a free audiobook of your choice at www.audibletrial.com/shark. Hey, welcome to the Movies, Films, and Flicks podcast. I'm your host, John Lasso. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts, Mark Hoffmeyer.
If I was a mutant and Apocalypse wanted me to be one of his four horsemen, and in the movie he gives his four horsemen like a total makeover, like he basically like makes them look fabulous.
Yeah.
I would be like, listen, you know, obviously I look like this, but can you turn me into Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China?
Wait, so what would your mutant power be if you were Jack Burton?
I'm a jumper. Okay. I can just lift a lot of plywood.
Oh, okay.
A lot of it. Like, you know, dung beetles can like roll 10,000 times their body weight.
No,
I can
didn't know
like, and every construction yard, people want me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, you're the guy who can roll 10 times his body weight.
Exactly.
You mentioned Kurt Russell, by the way. Film Phonic was doing like this trivia thing on Twitter every Tuesday, and they were saying that Nick Nolte and Jeff Bridges both turned down the Kurt Russell role of Jack McCready.
Wow.
In The Thing.
That's
Can you imagine like Nick Nolte or like? Well, I don't think he sounded like that back then. Then he was more.
He sounded like Farmer Fran with like a sore throat.
You know, I feel like they should have cast Gary Busey because when he just flips out normally, it's almost like the Thing is about to come out of him, like you know, when they were tied up in the blood test scene.
Like, oh, that's the thing.
That's just Gary Busey normally.
So, guys, if Apocalypse kind of made you guys fabulous, like, what would he like? And he sticks his little hand on you, and you turn in all this fancy stuff. Like, what would you want to look like if you're one of Apocalypse's four horsemen?
Probably a mohawk, right? Mohawk
That's it?
looks pretty cool. Yeah.
Like, you can use it as like a blade.
No, just like a regular mohawk.
That's it. What about you, Leavengood?
Your power would be having a mohawk.
Yeah.
You could mosh pit really good.
Yeah.
Like for me, you know, I really like the look of Apocalypse in the comic books. He had a much neater look. Like,
so you'd be like, turn me into you from the comic.
Turn me into the you that you should have been.
Oh.
You know, and you know, if you do a search for like Apocalypse cosplay, by the way, I mean, there's all sorts out there, but there are some people who, no joke, did a better job with their Apocalypse costume that they walked into a con in than they did for Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac doesn't really have the physique of the Apocalypse in the comics, right?
Well, he's I'm not going to call him petite, but he's not a big dude.
He's not Apocalypse.
Now, I still haven't even seen this movie. I feel remiss that I haven't seen it, but you know, I've seen enough of the trailers. Oscar Isaac, amazing actor.
So
we have the real Apocalypse, we have a mohawk, and Jack Burton.
Jack Burton. I'm very partial to Omega Red and Carnage as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just throw them in there, too.
They got cool outfits.
That's a pretty interesting collection of horsemen, actually. I don't know. All right. Actually, today's actually a very special episode, Movies, Films, and Flicks. For the first time in the show's history, I'm not alone in the studio, the recording studio. I'm actually joined live in studio by John Leavengood here.
Yeah, after gosh, I guess I missed like 3 episodes, didn't I? After a bit of a family issue, and I've been in Florida this whole time. And
well, Mark and I have been holding it down.
That's
pretty
good.
well, actually. So,
Hey,
you make it sound like so like pessimistically humble. It's like I feel like we've been keeping it together.
yeah, I think sometimes I felt like we did better.
Wait, hold on now. I don't like that either.
I'm just messing with you.
I don't like you guys. I don't like you insinuating even the joke that it's not as good. But like, don't go saying that you're doing better.
No, this is it's cool to have someone else in the room, because usually I'm gonna pull back the curtain a little bit here, but Leavengood, Mark, and I were all living in 3 different states, so like thanks to the magic of Skype, we can record a podcast. So, but there's like it's different doing a podcast over Skype and doing a podcast in person. So it's cool to have you here, Leavengood.
Oh, sure, yeah. And now we only have 2 internet connections that can slow us down instead of the worst of 3.
Right. I don't know,
You imagine that little cockatoo-looking woman, the weakest link.
you
But
want a
what
weakest
you
link.
guys aren't seeing is that the studio is really small.
Yeah.
And so right now, Lazavath is on top of Leavengood's shoulders.
Yeah.
And there's 2 mics up there.
Yeah,
It feels as warm as if that was actually happening in here.
No joke. Like the studio here is actually just like a small room, and since the studio is also in Florida and it's like the middle of summer right now, it's not the most comfortable place in the world, but we'll get through it.
There's gonna be some meat sweats going on too.
You know, usually it's usually just me in here, and like halfway through the podcast, like I'll start to feel it, like, oh man, it's getting really hot in here. But like I'm here with Leavengood, who's not like a small man himself. So,
Gets pretty hot in these rhinos.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's been through
Jim
it.
Carrey.
The mother rhino's giving birth.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
That guy really went for it back in the day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think he kind of mellowed out.
There's only so many butts you can birth yourself and talk out of. You know.
Oh, Lord, I
yeah.
think 1 is too many.
Speaking of trying to birth ourselves out of butts, I think it's time to answer some listener questions.
Yeah, good segue, Les.
Yeah.
I see you haven't lost your edge in my absence.
Never.
So the first question, I'm not going to say the person's name who asked this question because it's kind of like Voldemort. It like gives him power,
We just say
and I'm not gonna give this person power.
Okay.
And their question was, "Hi, Mark. I recently watched I Saw the Devil because you recommended it. Have you watched Maniac Cop yet?"
How many? Wait, I'm just curious. While I've been gone for a few episodes, has this come up? Because I feel like Maniac Cop and you not watching it has come up like.
Oh no,
3 or
we
4
saved
times
this
now.
for you.
Okay, all right, because this is
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like with all the chat that we've had about it, kind of behind the scenes, like offline, I feel like we one day owe this guy a Maniac Cop episode. But I know that the more he asks, the less you want to actually watch it.
I don't think he watched I Saw the Devil, which is a Korean serial killer film.
You think he's
like
lying?
because he wanted to. I think he watched it so he could ask me this question.
So, like, he watched it in spite of you.
Yes. Just so we could be like, "Hey, Mark, how was Maniac Cop? I watched the movie you recommended."
Like, neener.
Yeah, he kind of did it with like a smug look too. He wasn't like moving. Nothing on his body was moving. He did like one little head up. Like he was sort of standing perfectly still and he did a little head nod.
Oh, wait,
up
so
tilt.
he asked you this in person?
Yeah.
So this isn't even like when we get our standard listener questions by Twitter or Facebook where you kind of invent the tone. Like, you witnessed it. There's nothing
Yeah.
out of context.
Nothing moved. He just did a little head nod.
Straight up like a snarky smarminess.
Yeah, exactly. And so it wasn't like,
okay.
"Hey, Mark, that was awesome, but I Saw the Devil, like perfect recommendation, and like, have you gotten a Maniac Cop yet? Yeah, you should definitely watch that." No, he did it very smug like.
So he's like pulling a Mean Girls.
Yeah,
Ooh.
basically, and he was around people. Like he was just trying to make me look. He was trying to movie shame me on a film set. So you know what?
that
You
is
know
your
what, Voldemort?
business, man.
I'm not going to watch it. I don't care.
Oh man.
I don't even think. I think you put I Saw the Devil on in the background, and then you kind of like watched it like while you were making dinner.
Just so you could pass a lie detector test.
Yeah, because I asked him how the Komodo dragon scene was, and he said he loved it. There's no Komodo dragon. Scuzz bucket.
It's like, how about that Steve Buscemi cameo in that Korean
It was unexpected.
Yeah, what about when Rob Schneider popped up and went, "You can do it"?
I loved it.
Serial killer.
I loved it. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not watching your stupid movie. Sorry.
Okay, I will watch that. I'm guessing probably in the next year. I'll review it. It doesn't strike me as the kind of movie that I'm going to want to discuss normally, but I think that I'm going to bring it up for discussion just to maybe like we discuss it even if you don't watch it.
I'm just going to talk about Komodo dragons and Rob Schneider.
And that Steve Buscemi
I
cameo.
had no idea Bruce
Yeah.
Campbell's in it. Actually.
Yeah, of course he is.
You don't really hear too much about this when Bruce Campbell comes up.
Yeah, he
Maniac
never
Cop.
brings up Maniac Cop.
You know, that guy who
Why?
played the Maniac Cop, his name's like Robert Zdar, like Zdar or something. That guy has an inhumanly huge jaw, but I think he died in the last year.
That's a shame.
That guy, I think I saw that going around Twitter and Facebook recently.
If Bruce Campbell talks about Maniac Cop, he goes, Klaatu, Barata. Fart Factory.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you just looked him up. Robert Zadar, and he has...
It's like one of like those cartoon-looking jaws, right?
Yeah. I mean, he looks like one of Popeye's villains.
Yeah. Well, I mean, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, yeah.
Yeah.
Scaring the crap out of Popeye.
Yeah. All right, so answer to that question is Popeye. Right.
Yep, I'm not watching it.
Okay.
I love
You asked me nicely.
that is such a stalwart approach. You're almost like Gimli in Lord of the Rings. That still only counts as one. Just like you're standing your ground hard.
You come at me like that, I'm not going to watch it.
Listen, man, Gimli and Legolas eventually made up, though. They were like the best friends. So you'll eventually watch the movie.
I hope
I
not.
think.
Like by
It can
accident.
take a whole lot of walking and journeying. I'm not going to journey with
But
that
then,
guy.
like, Aragorn makes like a stirring speech, and then you just have to watch it.
Okay. I mean, if Aragorn told me to watch Maniac, I still wouldn't. I'd be like, what do you know about movies? You're a ranger.
But he's the
How
king.
do you even watch Maniac Cop? You live in Middle Earth.
He's one of those like outdoorsy people who's like really like like snooty when they're like, oh, I don't have a TV.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't own a TV.
I
either read or commune with nature or kill orcs.
Well, good for
Well,
you.
yeah. Well, what have you read lately?
He says rune scrolls. I read the inside of a.
I can find.
I read the inside of a ring, and it's all I ever have to read again. King bitches.
You know what, Aragorn? You and Voldemort, I don't care about your movie recommendations. You guys are stupid. I'm going to write a post about how I hate the two of them. Movies Aragorn would recommend, a bunch of crap.
Probably.
That's fucking-
Yeah. All right, Mark. What's the second listener question? Oh.
I'm breathing deep, man. I'm worked up. Okay, so this one is from Chris Kelly. Again, this guy's always asking me questions, man, but I love it. I think Chris Kelly's a good man. He's actually out in Vegas right now working on a, what show is that? American Ninja Warrior.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's doing that. So, I hope they fire you so you get to come back here, man. Haven't seen you in a while.
So he's not actually like competing in American Ninja Warrior.
No, he's just working on it.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. So his question was, what was the cinematic personality of the 2000s and who dominated it? So I looked through every year and I wrote a bunch of notes. Unless you guys want to jump in on this if you have some answers, but here's kind of what I'm thinking.
Wait, can I want to see how my answer meshes with your actual findings, because I didn't look anything up. My answer was basically super cool rich guys, and I specifically thought of Christian Bale.
Like the personality of the 2000s?
Yeah, the personality of the movie, it was just a pervasively super cool rich guys. It was sleek rich guys
The 2000s?
Well, I actually had a question.
Well,
before.
American Psycho, the Batman trilogy.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking of things like that.
I actually had a question about this question. Like, what does he mean by cinematic personality? Like, is he talking about like a specific person or like a type of character?
Or does he just
like...
mean really, really bad?
Ooh,
Does
so
he
we
mean
all
really
three
bad
answered this
remakes?
differently.
Really bad remakes and reboots. That was an alternative answer.
So, like, here's what I'm thinking. In 99, you had Matrix, Notting Hill, and American Pie. And so American Pie throughout the, the early 2000s, you had like the road trips and everything like that. Then Matrix, you had the knockoffs. 2000s was Gladiator, and then that kind of spawned Troy Alexander, Kingdom of Heaven. And 2000 was when X-Men happened. And then so that X-Men led to Spider-Man, led to X2, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Iron Man. So it kind of started with X-Men. Then you had the Fellowship of the Ring movies, which kind of took us through, the early 2000s. You had the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, so you're going like trilogies and franchises.
And like 28 Days Later hit big in 2002. That caused the zombies. Pirates of the Caribbean owned the 2000s. Old School happened in 2003. 40-year-old Virgin 2005. And then it was dominated at the end by like Twilight and Paranormal Activity. So I guess like the personality for me, when I look back at it, it's more about like the Pirates of the Caribbean, the Harry Potters, and like the beginning of the early Marvel stuff.
Sequels that go farther than they should.
Yeah, exactly.
Overreaching sequels.
I hate the fourth Pirates movie. That's garbage.
Yeah.
But then, like, and there's a lot of Apatow, 40-year-old Virgin led to, Superbad and all that kind of stuff. And Anchorman. Will Ferrell owned the comedy in the 2000s. So I'm just kind of thinking it was like the Apatowian Lord of the Ringsian personality. So it'd be J.R.R. Apatow.
Oh wow, that's
J.R.R. Apatow.
okay. Okay.
Wait, J.K.R. Apatow. J.K. Rawlings, J.R. Tolkien.
Oh, there
It's
you
right
go.
there.
J.K.R.,
So
yeah.
you could say like it's J. Crapatow.
Yep.
Sure, right?
Drake J. Crapatow Part 3.
Yeah.
So J. Crapatow.
So I guess the way I approached it is
J. Crapatow.
cinematic personality. Like that just made me like think of like an actor, like what actor kind of owned like the early 2000s. I'm just trying to think of that time period. I'm thinking like Johnny Depp, like kind of stood out the most to me. Or, like he had like the most memorable roles. Like I mean, you obviously had like all the Pirates movies, and then you had like all these you had like Tim Burton movies, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and just like it was just like he was always known for doing like weird characters, but like it was like during his time period, like it felt like he really just kind of amped it up. You know,
Like, all of a sudden, he's doing only really weird characters.
yeah, and it's just like I'm not saying like that was necessarily like the best like performances, but like it stood out the most to me of like that time period.
So now we have J.J. Crapatow.
Yeah, J.J. Crapatow.
Jackson.
Yeah,
Peter Jackson. J.J.
So, yeah.
Crapatow Jackson.
Johnny Depp, I
third.
guess, is my answer.
All right, so Johnny Depp owned it. Who do you think? Did you say Christian Bale?
Yeah, I'd say well, if I went with a person like Christian Bale, and if I didn't, it would be really bad remakes and reboots and sequels. Just so many movies, man, like that in theaters at one time now are sequels. I feel like if you went back to the 90s, there would be like one sequel at a multiplex at one time.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, Christian Bale had a pretty good run in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, American Psycho.
Reign of Fire.
Yeah.
Hey, I love Reign of Fire. Hey, you leave Reign of Fire alone.
You know, Reign of Fire is a movie I love until I watch it. And then I watch it and I hate it. Then a month later, I'm like, I love that movie.
That is a movie that I love and then love more when I watch it.
So I'm going to say Will Ferrell.
Really? Yeah, I mean, what, old school kind of kicked that off? Like, where he just kind of exploded, right? Well,
And
I mean,
Talladega Nights and
Yeah.
like Anchorman
they were
and Step
great.
Brothers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That basketball movie.
Oh.
Stranger Than Fiction.
Semi-pro.
Blades of Glory.
Semi-pro is semi-watchable.
On a Blades of Glory. Oh, it's Blaze of Glory, not Blades of Glory.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, I do think, yeah. So I'm saying that, and then also Bourne Identity, I think, was huge because they had the 3 Bourne movies, and then Bond kind of ripped off Bourne.
Well, wait, wouldn't it be more that Bourne ripped off Bond, or do you mean the style
No,
of the new Bond ripped off the style of the new the Bourne movies?
The director Doug Liman wanted to direct a Bond movie, so they wouldn't let him. So he went and directed the Bourne Identity.
I'll make
Then
my own Bond movie.
Yeah, exactly. So then that became huge, right? And then the Bond movies started kind of going after trying to be sort of like the Bourne movies. And so now that the director always brags about it.
It's like this weird shaky cam circle.
Yeah, like Quantum of Solace tried to go like full Bourne,
Ugh, never.
but then
go full
ended up
Bourne.
as I'm not going to say that. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That ended up terrible.
Yeah.
So we got Johnny Depp,
I guess
Will
like,
Ferrell,
yeah. And,
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. So we got
Well, I want to add like another, like if I had to choose like kind of like a singular personality, I guess. I'm not really going off the actor, but like the character.
And Anthony Hopkins' narration.
Yeah. I'm going with Napoleon Dynamite. Like John Heder just really, really, really nailed that role, right?
oh my gosh, yeah.
Like it was like a cult. It's still like a cult classic. So I don't know. Like that movie had like a huge impact on pop culture there for a little bit. So
That hair and that perm. I mean, that perm and those teeth were just such a combination.
yeah.
So if you're giving it to John Heder, I'm going to give it to Ryan
Well,
Gosling.
not
and
John
Rachel
Heder,
McAdams.
but Napoleon Dynamite, the character.
I'm going to give it to the characters from The Notebook then, because that like sparked a revolution. Whoa, I just said sparked a revolution. Nicholas
Nick Sparks, yeah.
Let's see what you did there.
Oh man, I didn't even mean to do it. I should have just left it and let somebody at home go, hey, hey, hey.
Just like Daniel Tosh, one guy in the back got the joke.
So I'm going with the Notebook. I'm going with James Garner.
Really?
Yeah. Poor James Garner. That movie ended rough.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
So we got Christian Bale. So we have BJJ Krakatoa Garner.
The third.
The third.
The movie.
Napoleon. Dynamite. Wait, all right. BJJ Krakatoa Jackson. Dynamite.
Actually, Samuel L.
Garner.
Jackson had a pretty good run in the 2000s, right?
Oh, Sam Jack. Yeah, he's always been great.
Yeah.
And Uma Thurman had a good run there. She had the Kill Bill movies.
Oh,
My super ex-girlfriend.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, it was stupid, but it was funny.
It's cute.
And Eddie Izzard was the bad guy.
Anna Faris had her movies. She had a
Yeah.
good run in the 2000s.
There's a lot of people who did some pretty good work during that
There's
time
some good
period.
running. There's some marathons.
Yeah.
A lot of sprints.
So what's the answer to this question, you think?
I'm gonna say.
BJJ Krakatoa.
Yeah, BJJ Krakatoa.
Garner the Third, the movie, part 2.
Yep, there we go.
That's our final answer.
Yep.
Okay. I think thanks again to our listeners for those wonderful listener questions. Sorry if we didn't answer the questions to your liking, but if you weren't happy, then maybe you weren't listening to our podcast in the first place.
If you're unhappy with how we answered the question,
Yeah. What were you expecting?
keep asking Maniac Cop questions or something.
I mean, you probably in a bad mood, and no matter what we said, you were gonna hate.
Yeah. Seriously, buddy. Go grab a beer or something.
Listen, you got problems, don't put it on us. Right?
If you don't like us, you need Percocet in your life.
Right.
John Leavengood's opinions are solely the opinions of John Leavengood. And okay. Who's got the topic this week?
I got it, guys. I got it.
All right.
So today we're going to talk about a movie from 2014 and a movie from 2016, and they are two horror films. Just letting everybody know, but they're definitely horror hybrids. They're more of like, sci-fi mixed with thriller, mixed with horror. But they're also very good and they're very different. One of them was made by a first-time filmmaker, and the other one was by a third-time filmmaker. And both of these movies were made for extremely cheap. They're both on Netflix, and they hit above their weight. And today we're going to talk about Honeymoon, and then we're going to jump into talk about Hush. Now, Honeymoon was the first directorial debut by Lee Janiak. She was inspired by this movie called Tiny Furniture. And wait, she's the woman who created Girls. What's her name?
Lena Dunham?
Yes.
Yeah, Lena Dunham's movie Tiny Furniture. And so she drew inspiration. So she wrote this horror film, body snatching film about this couple that's on their honeymoon. They go to this cabin in the woods. And it gets very, 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 very gooey.
Well, I don't think it gets
Sounds like
that
lunch
gooey.
to-
It's
I mean, there is a gooey.
it gets moderately gooey.
I mean, it's gooey. Like, I think your goo meter. John Leavengood, if you don't know, loves goo. Like, he loves movies,
does.
horror movies, where there's like he loves goo movies.
anything where things are slathered.
Yeah, like just like movies where it's just like in that scene where like a guy's walking through a building and they stick their hand in this whole like lot of spit and it's like stuck on their hands and they're like, what is this? And then an alien kills them. That's like John's like that's like that's his Oscars right there. It's like a guy getting goo on him and then he's like,
Oh.
I got goo on me, and then he gets eaten by a gooey creature. So Honeymoon features Rose Leslie, who's from Downton Abbey, Game of Thrones, Last Witch Hunter, Ygritte, and Harry Treadaway. He's from Attack the Block and everything. But they're these two very likable honeymooners, and they're having their honeymoon. That's going great. They're all kissy, smoochy. They're telling tales about crapping while eating curry. And
I love those characters, by the way. We were meeting those characters and learning about those characters in a way that didn't feel like it was the beginning of a horror movie at all.
Yeah, it felt like a domestic. It felt like it was going to be like Revolutionary Road.
Yeah, I mean,
in the beginning,
I would have watched their characters' lives unfold in a 90-minute movie with no horror.
yeah. And also I want to say this is an extremely low budget movie shot in North Carolina over 26 days. And I read about it, and it sounds like the worst shoot ever. So I've worked on a lot of productions, and this seems like a nightmare. They're doing 16 to 17-hour days. They were doing splits, which means you start in a day and you end at night. And Rose Leslie actually did it between a break of Game of Thrones. So this seems like a nightmare production. But what I was really amazed about was it was a very confident direction. And the set design, I don't know if you noticed this, Leavengood, but it's really cozy. Like it was it didn't feel tacky. It felt lived in. And that's a problem with a lot of movies that have low budgets are these sets suffer.
Sure. No, I'd agree with that. That looked like the vacation place that, you've seen photos that your friend showed you to of their cabin that they go to every year. I mean,
it was good. So it's a classy cabin in the woods movie. And also, if you guys have been listening to us over the last year, we talk a lot about horror hybrids. And I've been really trumpeting this movie for a long time. And I guess what happens is, they're having a honeymoon. She disappears one night. She comes back and she starts acting weird. And then the rest of the movie is the husband, while they're on their honeymoon, just dealing with his beautiful wife kind of losing her mind and being taken over by her, losing her mind because these aliens want her.
Something interesting about this movie, both of these movies that we're talking about have a male and a female, two excellent characters, and one male and one female, primarily, right, driving the movie.
Yeah.
But in both cases, as good as the male roles were, these were almost shown in equal perspective, whereas most movies you have the perspective of your victim, if you will. Whereas this movie, it felt equal perspectives. You felt like you weren't picking a side necessarily for a long time, that was really interesting. So it was driven by who turned out to be the antagonist and not actually driven by who turned out to be our victim protagonist, the man.
So I have a quick question for you. So, we learned pretty much early on that something has happened to her. She has the marks on her legs. She doesn't know how to make coffee. She forgets how to do French toast. And so you kind of learn early on that something is kind of wrong with her. Do you think they could have stretched it out a little bit more where they made him seem like paranoid and angry? Or do you think they kind of did it fine?
I think they did it fine. That's not to say that it wouldn't have worked just as well had they gone about it differently. I liked the development. They only had so long to do that portion of the movie, unless they made, I guess more like an hour 50 or 2-hour movie. But I mean, that was enjoyable though. All those little things unfolding in front of you, and where you're kind of living through the suspicious eyes of the husband in that case, that was really cool. To me, that was cooler than when the urgency elevated in the final act.
Yeah, it lost me a little bit in the final act. So, you're watching it. She forgets how to make French toast. One day she doesn't want to jump in the water. The next day she does. She doesn't want to, have sex with her husband on the honeymoon. And then she continually writes her name down on some paper. They meet some other couple where the man is kind of seemingly abusive and you don't see where his wife is. And then what happens is she ends up getting really gooey. And there's a scene where he pulls like an octopus from her.
It looks like a mix between an earthworm and tree roots to me.
Yep.
Like it's weird.
Yeah, like very natural. It seems very organic and gooey.
And
We're going back to what he
pulled that
loves.
out, like he was like yanking that thing, like it was stuck in there. Like that was like a mean scene.
Yeah, it was like you have this wonderful, nice couple. It's basically a movie where it's like, hey, we're going to introduce this great couple, and we're going to do terrible things to them. And so he pulls this thing out of her, and then she's like, oh, I got to hide you because these aliens, who we see who have long fingers and everything like that, stereotypical aliens, she ties him up, brings him on a boat, and drowns him because she wants to hide him. And then she gets sucked up by the aliens.
Now, that scene, that was an interesting scene, and that drew a lot of conversation, well, that I guess I initiated in a thread about why did she try and hide him in a way that was totally murderous if there were glimmers of her human self in there? It's like she was slowly being taken over, maybe, right?
Yeah. And then I watched... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
But no, so she ties him up, right? And she waits him, and she throws the anchor down, and so he's anchored down, and she drops him in the water. And it was interesting, though, that later someone pointed out there was kind of a parallel that earlier in the movie they were fishing and they were talking about earthworms surviving for 5 minutes in the water or something under the water. And I guess that was like the psychotic link that she had to try and protect him when she basically wasn't thinking straight.
I mean, that's a Stretch Armstrong right there.
Yeah.
But I guess it's plausible. But you know what really threw me off is, so she's trying to protect her husband, but there's a scene where he meets this other woman that's been infected by the goo aliens. And that's what I'm calling them, goo aliens from Planet Goo.
That's what Planet Terror was. They turned into goo
and so
machines.
He goes up to this woman, and she goes, "We're not safe. We will hurt you."
Yep.
So this is after she's gotten rid of her husband. So she knows. So the woman who has the same thing happen to her, who is in a further state than Rose Leslie, killed her husband. And she said, "We will hurt you." So she knows they'll hurt her.
And she presumably hid him in the same way because we saw her coming back from the boathouse alone.
Yeah, but then she's saying, "We will hurt you."
Right.
So that's kind of like, the first time I watched it, I didn't think about it. Then the second, I message you? I'm like, John, you got to hear this line.
I was imagining you yelling that while you're
and I never got around to it. Again, something came up, and in the last few weeks I haven't been watching much. And but I'm curious to get a rewatch, actually, of both of these movies that we're going to talk about today for a lot of reasons. This included is all this discussion and analysis coming on and finding all these links. And by the way, that thing in her was very worm-like. There were a lot of wormy things.
Yeah. And then she becomes very flaky at the end. She becomes like a pastry.
Yeah.
Like a lizard pastry.
Like almost, but with a little bit of grimy slime. She was almost like at the very end of Death Becomes Her when the women aren't taking care of themselves.
You're saying she got like psoriasis is what you're saying?
Yeah, she has gooey psoriasis.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
But for the budget, the makeup was really great. The squishy noises were great. The director, she really wanted to go like organic with it all. So it had a very gooey, natural feel. And also Rose Leslie is amazing in this movie. So you're just like, and I had recently gotten married. Probably I've been married for about 6 months when I watched this movie. And so it really hit home with me just based on that fact.
Like, you would pretend to snore and wait for your wife to fall asleep every night. And you'd set your alarm for 5 minutes before hers so that she wouldn't be awake when you weren't.
Wait, what?
Like if you were paranoid about your wife after seeing the movie.
Oh yeah.
It's like you don't want her awake when you're not awake.
If those stupid, and these aliens are real jerks in this movie. They kidnap these women. They put goo in them. Like, it seems like a terrible system. You know what I mean?
It sounds like it works for them.
Yeah, I guess, but it seems just like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, maybe these aliens come from a more aquatic environment, and that's why there's this link to the water, and things that are aquatic tend to secrete mucus to protect their bodies.
Interesting. So they're gooey water aliens that are turning women into gooey water beings who drown their husbands to save them in water.
And what happens when you take a fish out of water, right? A fish has a little bit of grime on it,
right? It flies, right? It
flies, but it has a little grime on it, but then it starts to dry out. But it's both dry and flaky and slimy at the same time.
Whoa, so this is a wonderful theory. They're becoming fish.
Like, yeah, they're these ichthyoid aliens.
Do you think their ship is just like a huge hot tub?
Why is it hot? Are they making stew out of themselves?
Well, no, they're not cooking themselves. They're just kind of like they want to be comfy. There's probably levels of it. Like, remember in the Roman baths, there was cold baths, there was hot baths. Like, you gotta like mix it up. They're aliens. They got that technology. Bubble bath.
Bubble bath. That's the technology right there.
Bubble bathing aliens.
First time Rowan baths has ever been brought up on this podcast.
Yeah,
Probably
I was just out there. I was just out there in Bath. That's where they learned to do belly flops, actually. But that one line really hurts the movie for me because it breaks down the ending. So I don't know why after she had saved her husband that she would say to somebody else, "We're not safe. We will hurt you."
There's something. A lot of times, it's like people complain that they want more explained, but in reality, when things are explained, most of the time you're upset with the result. Like you need that fear of the unknown to drive horror a lot of times. But when this ended, I kind of felt like I deserved something of an explanation, even if it was vague.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's kind of like, let's say I'm talking about you, John. I'm like, John, how you doing? You great? I sold $100. So what are you up to later, man? You chilling? You're gonna be like, wait, what'd you say? Oh, nothing, man. Just let it be.
Yeah.
Like, no, wait, what? No, nothing, man, nothing.
Yeah,
Like it's all good. You don't need to know everything, okay? But you don't need to know everything.
What's going on?
All right. Okay, so
but I thought we deserved more, and because there was this scene with the lights when the lights are shining in, and it's like, okay, something is specifically outside. It's not a spaceship because it's coming from it's paralleling the ground basically, right? At Wood's level, and it's coming in and shining in all these different rooms, like they're checking on her or something, and so that there's an active role of a third party being.
Yeah.
It's not like it just found her, probed her, and went back in a ship in the beginning when she was out in the woods. But there's something there. And while hold on, that just brought me to something. So she goes out in the woods, right, towards the beginning of the movie, and then she, her husband finds her naked in the woods and just not right.
Oh yeah, he thinks he's hooking up with that guy.
But why was she initially out in the woods? Before she was ever infected, she went out in the woods for some reason. If there were lights shining around, wouldn't you wake up your husband? That's really creepy. So I'm not going to call it a plot hole or pulling a fast one or like I do with some things. It's just, I think that in their keeping the mystery, they went a little too far with certain things. And this is one where you could have given a very simple explanation. But instead, I'm sitting here thinking, what logical reason was there for her to leave the house alone in the first place in the middle of the night in her bare feet?
And someone was like, she already was an alien and she was just turning now. And I'm like, that's a lot of coincidences to marry that day and come out there to that woods. Like, that's just too much.
Sure,
So
that definitely, especially since the other woman who lived there was already infected. She lived there. She was the husband of the dude, and they ran the diner or whatever.
Yeah, and so, but it's kind of crazy how the second viewing, like I never caught that the first time around, but the second time, the "we're not safe will hurt you" kind of like threw everything in flux for me. It's still a really well performed movie. The production design's cozy, sound is good. It's well worth your time, but that time, it's well worth your time. Nice. But that, I don't know. I guess the more we talk about it, the more it kind of flakes apart like a gooey alien pastry.
But I mean, but despite the criticism and finding these things, like, I think it was amazing.
Oh yeah, I love it. Like, how long I've been talking about this movie for 2 years now, probably.
I've known you for like, a decade. I feel like you've been talking about it the whole time.
Mark was talking about this in '94.
Yeah.
15 years up. No, 16 years I've known Lazavath.
Yeah, I feel like
I met you in '99.
I think he came up to me like, "Yo, you seen this movie Honeymoon? Like, what are you talking about?"
He's like, "There's this 10-year-old redhead, and she's eventually going to be in this movie called Honeymoon, and you got to check it out."
It'll be on this streaming service called Netflix, which isn't available yet. Yep. You just have to keep an eye out for it.
And then you went, "Who the hell is that guy?"
Yeah. Really?
But I mean, listen, I know we're kind of bagging on it right now, but it's well made. It puts you through the ringer. It's an enjoyable film. Rose Leslie and Harry Treadaway have very good chemistry. Rose Leslie's always good. You put her next to like a tree, she'll put her next to Bill Murray in a tree, and you're gonna have the best movie.
And I'll say all stages of their interactions, from when everything was wonderful in the beginning to initial things aren't quite right paranoia to malevolent. Where she's basically taking him out and he knows that she's going to kill him, but all their interactions were great. Every individual interaction was fantastic. It's really just more the placement of, but how does this interaction fit in the movie where we can find our criticisms? But man, these characters were wonderful.
Yeah, and I guess there's just a few lines. There's maybe a few moments that kind of mystery's good, and we're going to talk about that with Hush. I just think that there are some things that not should be, but this isn't if the director said I left that in here to be a mystery, I'd call BS on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you had a bunch of great ideas and you didn't quite string them all together.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, guys, Honeymoon is on Netflix. I totally recommend you check it out. Anything else you got about it, Lev?
I mean, I'm just going to second that thumbs up. I'll also say, by the way, Mark, you have turned me to and I watch loads of horror movies. I watch upwards of 7 to 10 horror movies a week. And still, a lot of movies I would never watch unless you had suggested them. And they include Creep, Spring, this, Hush, which we're going to discuss in a little bit. And all of them have actually been pretty blowout awesome. In my opinion, Creep was just very good, but the others to me are just knockdown awesome, and I never would have watched them.
Hey, that means a lot coming from the horror czar. And I appreciate that you actually watch them, unlike me, who just ignores suggestions.
The only one that you've suggested, not saying it was amazing, that I didn't ever get around to, I think, was ATM.
Oh, no, don't watch that.
I thought you said that I'd love it as a bad movie.
ATM.
No!
Okay, well then never mind. Then I'm glad I didn't watch it. Did they have Alice Eve?
Yeah.
Well, that's a reason to watch it right there.
I mean, she's good, but like, it's really bad.
All right. So I think now is a good time to take a break because I think Leavengood is about to spontaneously combust here. Right?
Dude, I'm telling you, it gets pretty hot in these rhinos.
Yeah. Now that you see him, man, he's like sweating up. He's sweating buckets here.
Wait, can we start calling the studio the Rhino?
No. Time to get some little bit of air here. Well, we'll be right back.
Hey, podcast listeners, this is Kyle from Word of the Bay.
And Nick.
And we're here to talk to you about Word of the Bay.
Yeah, Word of the Bay.
Yeah.
What is Word of the Bay?
Well, God, it's a Tampa Bay sports podcast. What is Tampa Bay?
Tampa Bay is the Tampa area. St. Pete, Tampa, Clearwater.
So we talk about sports and other things.
Which include Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tampa Bay Lightning, and Tampa Bay Rays.
And another bay, which is slipping my mind.
Oh, I don't even know what that bay
Hey guys,
is.
what are you guys talking about?
Oh, hey,
this is-
Jonathan. This is our third host, Jonathan.
Whoa, did I just walk in on something?
No, you're fine. But if you want to listen to Word of the Bay, go ahead and go to www.sharkdropper.com.
And check us out. Yeah.
Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And yeah, so I'm starting to figure out why we all podcast from like 3 different states.
I just burped.
I thought it, honestly, I was like, did you just fart in here? I was like, no, I burped.
It's
I'm like, oh my God.
how was that shit sandwich?
Ugh. Jesus.
I think it's seeping through my my video camera right now.
Like it's fogging up your webcam.
It's like that lady from The Ring who just like crawls through your TV.
It's just Leavengood's bodily gas. Anyway, Mark, what's our third listener question this week?
All right, and this one is from Riley, and it says, "What is better, Tales from the Crypt or Tales from the Dark Side?"
You watch them both and you shut up is the answer.
So for me, Tales from the Crypt came from the comic book in the 50s, and then of course it kind of it went its own direction, but I feel like it kind of blended humor with darkness. It had the benefit of HBO and everything like that. Whereas Tales from the Dark Side, from what I do remember, it is very Twilight Zone-y. So I guess from just like originality and what came first, I'm going to say Tales from the Crypt. And also there's a scene in Tales from the Crypt Demon Night where a demon burps and Thomas Hayden Church's locks fly back in the air. So I'm giving it to Tales from the Crypt.
So, I found myself asking, do they mean the movies or the shows?
I think everything.
Because that's too hard. Well, for me, here's my deal. Like, if you're talking the show, I honestly think Tales from the Crypt is better by a landslide for entertainment value, just for pure entertainment value. It's funny. It's got better production value. It was a little newer. It almost always had a recognizable actor in each episode. And a lot of them were, in season 1, were plays off the shorts from Tales from the Crypt and the Vault of Horror that came out in 1972 and 73. And that's where we got the Silent Night, movie with the Killer Santa. That whole little movie franchise is based on one of the shorts in Tales from the Crypt, 1972.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
So that was pretty nifty. But then in terms of the movies, in terms of quality, man, Tales from the Dark Side, The Cat, Lover's Vow with that transformation, and that was just so serious and heavy and a neat story, and then that farcical mummy thing with Steve Buscemi, Julianne Moore, and Christian Slater. So I think the movie today I'd recommend as a movie Tales from the Crypt, but today I'd recommend as a show. Today as a movie I'd recommend Tales from the Dark Side, But for a show, I'd recommend you go buy Tales from the Crypt.
3 words: Bordello of Blood.
Oh my God, we're bringing those movies into the.
Well, what's her name?
Demon Angie Everhart.
Angie Everhart and Dennis Miller. Right?
Dennis Miller
and
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman, yeah.
Corey Haim maybe was in it too.
No way. Did they get a Lost Boys reunion out of that movie?
I remember a Feldman in there. I don't know if I can't confirm a Haim, but I can say that Demon Knight had some good Billy Zane action.
Right on.
But I mean, for me, if I had to say any of these movies, I would say The Tick.
The Tick.
Yeah.
What do you?
I was going to answer the question, and I decided not to.
Do you mean like the live action Tick with Patrick Warburton?
No, the cartoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have to go with Tales from the Crypt. Like, I'm actually a huge Tales from the Crypt fan. I actually have the, not the original comic books, but there was like a hardcover collection of all the original comic books, and I got that, and I was just like, I loved the TV show growing up. The Demon Knight was great. Bordello Blood was like, it was a movie.
It was a VHS rental at Blockbuster.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, Tales from the Dark Side was pretty interesting though. Like it was, you could definitely tell they were ripping off the concept of like the anthology. But like it was cool that they did that, but it wasn't Tales from the Crypt.
Something that was cool when you compare the movies anyway, the anthology movies specifically, is that, the old ones, the Tales from the Crypt and the Vault of Horror, had the wraparound where you have a storyteller, right? And it was like telling these people the story. They were all together, and it turns out they're all dead. But when Tales from the Dark Side did it, they had a really fun spin with it, where it was this woman who was going to cook Joey Lawrence. It was one of the Lawrence brothers. And she was going to cook him, and she had this cell in her kitchen, and the kid's trying to distract her.
Oh, yeah.
By reading her stories from this childhood book of hers called Tales from the Dark Side. First off, that was just really fun. Like their banter back and forth, and her saying like, "Oh, I really got to start, cleaning you, like, cutting him open and stuff, and this, that, and the other soon, because how much do you weigh? It takes this much per pound." And then he's saying, "Oh, you just reminded me of a story." So, and then he tells the story. So it was a really fun dynamic that it was a lot more fun than even the Creep shows, where that really just came down to an intro and then pages turning in a comic book to show we're going to the next story. Mm-hmm. So I feel like Tales from the Dark Side might have been one of the first movies to both embrace and successfully execute the wraparound story.
Like Princess Bride.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they did a good job with it. And it was funny. I mean, of course, you're saying, like, why on earth does this woman have a jail cell, like a fairy tale jail cell attached to her kitchen?
Why wouldn't she?
And if she hasn't even started cleaning him, and gutting him, why did she preheat the oven right away? That doesn't even make sense. She doesn't know how to cook. Her dinner party is going to be a disaster. And is no one going to know that she cooked a boy? Because she had this huge pan that was like 6 feet long. This like oven was going into the wall or something, like it was a crematorium, right? So she's cooking the boy whole. So does that mean she's going to serve the boy whole? And everyone at the dinner party will be like, "This young boy is lovely."
Like, what kind of glaze do you use for boy?
It's
do you go with like a nice balsamic kind of glaze, or do you go for something more savory, I guess?
Jeez, that's a good question.
Like a chicken stock.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. No. What goes good with boy?
Some coriander.
Depends on the season. So coriander is the answer.
Yep, that's the answer.
Question? Yeah, coriander.
Yeah,
it really depends on the season, really.
And also, guys, all these reviews are on the website. John has a review from Tales from the Dark Side on moviesfilmsandflicks.com.
And the Vault of Horror.
And all of that.
Yeah,
so if you're curious to read, just click on John's Horror Corner. There's an index on the top, John's Horror Corner, and you'll see all of his reviews there by year. So on Hush, Honeymoon, all the reviews are on the site too. We each, I believe, wrote reviews for each of these movies we're talking about,
which is really unusual. That when both of us write a review for the same movie, it means that we loved it.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, or we both hated it, right?
I suppose so, but we both had something different to say about it.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, but yeah, that's rare. I'd say we've probably only done that. We've written over 1,000 posts, and we've probably done that maybe 10 times.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, wow.
But that gets us into our next movie, which is currently sitting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It only has 13 reviews, but don't knock it. Stephen King has called Hush the best horror movie since Halloween, and potentially the best one since Wait Until Dark, the Audrey Hepburn classic, where she's a blind woman being attacked by a bunch of goons. And so Hush was made by Mike Flanagan, who directed Oculus, which Leavengood and I both love. It is the best evil mirror movie produced by the WWE ever made.
Absolutely, hands down.
It is a smart, well-made film. And what this guy Mike Flanagan does is, I really feel like he kind of bucks the trends. He takes these really standard cliches, and I thought Oculus was going to be a garbage pail movie. When I saw the poster for Hush, I thought it was going to be a garbage pail movie. Then I watch it, and I'm blown away by how well and economical this guy can make. Like, he makes not one location movies, but he sticks to like almost a singular location, and he makes everything visually interesting. He finds very interesting actors. And this one is actually his wife in Hush. His wife is Katie Siegel, but she actually wrote it, and she's fantastic in it. But this is a guy who he did this movie, and now they're talking about him directing the Halloween reboot. And I think that's because of the villain in this film, Leavengood.
Oh, and he was great. I can't think of his name. Jim Galligan?
John Gallagher Jr.
John Gallagher Jr. He was from the Newsroom. I mean, he is this
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, this likable, snarky guy. And I was shocked to find out that was even him under that beard in 10 Cloverfield Lane. When we did what was it? Episode 51. 10 Deadpool Lane. But yeah, so I was surprised at that and really impressed at that. And so it's like he's just kind of appearing in horror movies. And Mark actually had sent me an article about an interview with the director that had revealed that when he was sent that script, he said, "Oh yeah, great. So I'll be the neighbor." And they said, "No, we want you to be the bad guy." And he thought about it and loved it. And
yeah, he said yes immediately. He went, "Oh!"
Like, yeah, this has to be done.
He probably did a happy dance.
Woo.
And this is also crazy, but I read that this movie they shot this movie over 18 nights in Alabama, which is respectable. They're probably long nights, but 18 is really good for a movie. I mean, just think it's like 3.5 weeks. And maybe if they did a 6-day schedule, that's only 3. Honeymoon did 6-day weeks, which is insane. But if this movie did 6-day weeks, they could have knocked this thing out in 3 weeks. But they said it only cost $70,000, which I don't believe, because I broke down all the math for the Steadicam operators, the sound, the PAs, the grips, the gaffer, the key grip, the best boy, the grips, the electric.
The caterers.
I mean, the caterers, Crafty, Transpo. There was a medic on set. There was security. There were some stunts. There were some stand-ins. So I did the math, and I got up to about $150,000, and that's conservatively. But these guys, Katie Siegel and her husband, Mike Flanagan, you read this too, Leavengood. They acted out this movie in their own house, wrote the script, and then they find out the house that they got in Alabama was completely different, so they had to rewrite a lot of the stuff.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that brings two interesting things to play, right? Because normally when you look at a script, it'll just say in brackets, girl gets chased by killer. Whereas they were really thinking out these scenes in serious detail before they were even on set.
Yeah, like how could he get in here? How could I get away?
Right, like it was like the method style of writing.
So I guess I'll let you guys know the plot. It's about a woman who is a writer. She has writer's block on her second book, and she moves out to the country, basically in isolation. She has some neighbors; they're really nice, but she is also deaf as well. When she was 13, she got meningitis, I believe, and it caused her to lose her hearing. And did she lose her ability to speak, or she just didn't speak?
No, I think she lost. There was, I guess, like in that quick little bio blurb, they mentioned about like a surgery going wrong. So like, I guess she physically lost her ability to speak too, as well.
Yep. So she didn't have the ability, and this is weird because all three of us have watched this movie, which is pretty awesome. And then she ends up being harassed or stalked by this killer. At first, he has a mask, and she writes this note saying, "I haven't seen your face. You know, you can go. I won't say anything." Then he takes off his mask really early, which is pretty amazing. And so he shows off his face. And basically, this is a guy who just wants to play a cat and mouse game with this woman that he really underrates. Like, he doesn't expect much from her. And what follows is this really smart, well-made, almost like single location cat and mouse thriller where the woman digs deep in her reserves and the killer is never explained. And there are things that talk about him where they kind of explain his character a little bit, but you don't know why he's there. You don't know what he's done, where he's from. His daddy, you know, his mom wasn't evil. He didn't have an evil stepmom. I kept waiting for an explanation, never got one, and it thrilled me. I feel like it was the perfect example of not needing to tell somebody.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to be going the angle of The Strangers, because he did have that one line, just like The Strangers at the end, right? Isn't that where it's I think it's the end.
Yeah, because you were home.
Right, yeah. Why are you doing this to us? And yeah, because you were home. Whereas in his case, I think he said something like, I was just walking down the road until I saw a light on in a house.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of taking that same knack to ignite the story, but it goes its own. It's totally going in its own way. It's not like The Strangers at all.
And I'll tell you what, I was thinking about this, and I really preferred this to The Strangers because the biggest problem I had with The Strangers, I do think it was tense, but I felt like the killers were too stylized. They were
like Purgers before we had the Purge.
But, you know, I even liked the Purgers more because I felt like the Purgers were like spoiled brats and they were playing a game because they were allowed to, because they were like rich. You know what I mean?
They were stylized to match their environment, whereas in The Strangers, they were stylized for the sake of making them stylish.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, and then this one, the kid, you know who he is immediately. Like, I like that. It felt really real. And I watched this with my wife. I've actually watched this 3 times. But I watched this with Megan, my wife, and she's not really into horror movies. She likes James Wan and everything, but The Descent. But we watched this, and like, this got to us because it feels sort of real, except that she doesn't own a gun and she lives in the wilderness. But that's a tough subject right now. But it feels very believable. Right?
I'd say so. Yeah, and I've been reading these blurbs where people are talking about, oh, well, other than these multiple unrealistic scenes, and I'm just thinking, like, what scene did you think was unrealistic? Now, I didn't get into an argument on Reddit because that was just going to turn into like trollers trolling for the sake of trolling.
I had one scene that I thought it was just kind of hard for me to just kind of, swallow that grain of salt.
Which was that?
It was near the beginning of the movie where the killer is introduced, right? The Maddie, I think she's like washing her dishes or something. And then like the neighbor, like she's like running up to the door, like banging on it, like, oh, help me, come in. And then like the killer comes up and stabs her repeatedly against the door. I'm just like, I mean, at this point the movie's already established, like, okay, she's deaf and mute, like, all right. But then like it also like says like, it's also mentioned that like, oh, at least like she can feel like very strong vibrations, right? I'm just like, okay, just she can tell when like her phone's going off, but you couldn't tell when someone's banging on your door, when someone's literally getting murdered on the side of your door.
That one I have mixed feelings about. I mean, she was like 10 feet away.
Yeah, it was close. I mean, it was relatively close because like earlier in the scene you saw, or like it might have been after the scene, but like you saw like she notices like the phone is going off. Like, you're gonna tell me like the phone has a stronger vibration than like someone banging on the door?
If your hand is on the table where the phone is,
or like peripheral vision too. Like, I thought maybe she could have seen it out of her side, but she was focusing on the dishes. But I did think that I think it could have gone either way. But I did think like she might feel this.
Well, I mean, for me, actually, I had a little bit of a disconnect with that scene, a little one. But for me, it was more that, okay, the killer can know that she's blind, but at any moment she could have had an itch, turned, looked for the sake of looking, whatever, and he was totally content to spend 15 seconds killing her directly perpendicular to her side. Like, it wasn't like behind her.
Yeah.
It was like right to her left. So that felt like, much bolder than it needed to be with multiple stabs when he could have, started leaning back and pulling the woman back away from the door.
Yeah.
Or just to the side, out of sight of the door.
Thankfully, that one scene didn't derail the movie for me because, the movie does a lot of things right. It's just that one scene. I'm just like, man, this. I just she. I know she's deaf, but how do you not just notice that?
But again, maybe just being distracted. No. Maybe just doing something else.
That's why I don't do dishes.
That's why I don't do dishes. That's the reason.
At all.
Well, and other people we even talked about. I think there was another scene.
That's why you don't do dishes?
Yeah, I don't want to get murdered. Come on, man.
I think there was another scene like that where people were criticizing, she would have felt the vibrations of this with him running around. I'm like, look, that might be true. That might be reasonable. But at this point, she was also very scared. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're focusing better just because you know someone's out there. You could be scared and distracting yourself. But also, she's not a tremor, all right? She's not a tremor. If you're on a pogo stick 100 yards down the road, she can't pinpoint where you are and swallow you. She's not a tremor. Kevin Bacon is not out pole vaulting anywhere nearby.
One thing I want to... I watched it again, and I noticed a lot of interesting things in the beginning. What I liked about her was I feel like she lived with people before, and they were kind of controlling. And so she moved out to be on her own, where she was trying to learn how to cook. You know what I mean?
Well, she was in an abusive relationship.
Yep. And then also, her sister was live with me, I worry about you. I feel like she moved out there to kind of find herself and do her own thing.
There was a line in the movie when she was signing with her neighbor, or no, she was Skyping with her sister, and she said, I didn't choose isolation found me, or seclusion found me. It was something like that.
Yeah.
And but it's very inflexive. She's identifying with this decision. It's important to her.
Yeah, and so I like that. At first I was like, why would she live out there? But it really made sense with the cooking and everything. And there's also kind of a funny thing where in the beginning there's kind of a butt shot with the lady putting her phone in her back pocket, but that came into play later. Even gratuitous shots come into play later on this.
I mean, if there's a butt shot in Act 1, it's gonna fire in Act 3.
That's right. Well, the
Chekhov's booty.
Yeah, Chekhov's booty, and there's Chekhov's fire alarm. There's a lot of Chekhov stuff going on in this. And there's another thing. The director wrote this post, and he talked about how a lot of people are complaining that the killer took off his mask too early. But then those same people are complaining that the killer doesn't have a backstory. So he's like, you're complaining that I wrecked the mystery of the killer, but then you're complaining that I didn't give away his backstory.
They're inadvertently complaining that they have far too much time to post comments online.
Yeah. But it's okay, he takes off his mask. Perfect. But then you don't tell me that, he had an abusive dad. He made a joke about how the mirror from Oculus came from sand that the devil played volleyball on. And it's you don't want to hear that. And this isn't a case of Honeymoon. I was perfectly happy with this killer. He had marks on his crossbow. He saw that guy who was a jock. Their neighbor comes by. This big neighbor comes, and he gets killed. But the killer dismissively later on calls him a jock or something like that. So he's he seems like an outsider who kind of kills for sport and had done it before. And that was kind of all I needed to know. Right?
Yeah, and he was talking about it later. He was like, oh, yeah, when your neighbor came around, I got pretty nervous there. But, I figured I maybe had a 10% chance on it because he didn't have his knife on him.
Yeah.
And then he finally got to his knife. But, this is a funny thing to say, but he was a very welcomingly human sadistic killer.
Yeah.
He had very human traits.
He's a killer. You want to go out and have a beer with him.
Exactly. Hey, how was your day? Good. Stab this chick in the neck 3 times.
Oh, cool, man. Hey, you want to go out to the bar? We'll get some Coors Lights.
Absolutely. The Bloody Mary.
So, Laz, what was your overarching... what did you feel about this film?
It was really... I thought it was really creative with the whole deaf-mute angle of the main character. I feel they didn't necessarily stick with it the whole movie, although I can understand why.
You mean with the narration?
No, with just you know, at the beginning, like there was that really tense scene where like he was just standing like right behind her, and she just had no idea. Like that stuff was really cool, but they didn't really, you know, do that too much during the movie. I felt like for good reason, because you know stuff like that would just get like would wear out its welcome. But yeah, I just I felt like it was a short movie, but it felt just long enough. You know, it's just yeah, I enjoyed it. You know, it's I don't know if I'll watch it again, but like you know, it had some pretty tense moments there for me.
I mean, yeah, 80 minutes. It's only an 80-minute movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty brisk movie there. So
breezy little home invasion sadistic killer movie.
Yeah, but you know what though? I didn't feel like it was mean.
no,
Like it didn't feel like the movie
Maybe
was
just
more
moments.
about.
Maybe just moments, but I agree.
Yeah.
The movie itself, yeah, it didn't
I
feel
felt like
that way.
it was about Maddie kind of like finding her inner strength. Like I think she was a strong woman to begin with, but it was about her like overcoming it. I never felt like there was like meanness to it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think that's very fair. It was, but again, you had a human killer, or
Yeah.
not literally human, but like
This is gonna sound weird because like at no point in the movie did I feel like she was like super vulnerable. You know, I always felt like, you know, even though she's like deaf and mute, she's like totally at a disadvantage. Always felt like she just had like a fighting chance. You know, she always like, there was just something about her where it's like, you know, she's there's something scrappy about her that I just can't really put my finger on. So I just like, you know, I think that's the reason why it doesn't feel mean. It's like, it doesn't feel like an unfair fight. You know,
It wasn't like Scream with Drew Barrymore getting wiped out by that killer.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
yeah, and even though, so the killer is not really a big man, and she's not really a small woman, but she still acknowledges. Later, she starts narrating to herself, which I kind of liked. It would have been nice to have the minimized dialogue, but what they did with her narration I liked a lot. It was almost like Nicolas Cage evaluating all the possible outcomes in Next, except it didn't suck.
Yeah, with him looking bored the whole time.
Right. But when she was saying, like, you know, I could do this, but this, I could try and run, but he's faster than me and stronger than me. So no. And, you know, I could do this. I'm going to have to, you know, I have to just try and protect myself. I can't get to the phone. So she's narrating to herself. And I like her narrations. And and even some people would say, like, you know, you're scared you might not think that way because, you know, like unrealistic that you can suddenly think that clearly. But she wrote thrillers. She was used to thinking out scenarios like this. So that, you know, it was very fitting, convenient, yes, but very fitting and appropriate. And and she always felt strong. And the more she got injured, the more they added some credibility, like her starting to think things out after her hand got mangled.
Oh gosh,
man.
And she got shot in the leg with a crossbow, and there wasn't a squishy noise. I figured you hated that.
Yeah, but you know, I will
a
say
joke.
that was one of my complaints. No, is that she was far under affected by that crossbow.
There was no squishy noise though; it just kind of hit her. Yeah, like I see. That's what like you're sitting in your big chair with your monocle, drinking Old Rasputin stout, and there's no squishy noise, and you're like,
your monocle falls out.
you just fall asleep with a single tear coming from
Then
your
you
eye.
and then as you're upset, you drop the monocle into your drink. Don't realize it. Take a sip of your drink and then choke on the monocle.
Lightning is just crashing, and you're in a leather chair, and you're a big dude, so the back of that leather chair is about 5 feet high.
Wait, but her hand though, I don't want to because we've been talking a lot historically about some bad breaks. There was like the crunchy leg in the Insidious 3.
Oh gosh.
And now there's this, and like her hand gets slammed in this, what was it, in the door, in her like kitchen door.
Oh, I got
and when
stomped on
she
as well.
lifted up that hand, it was every bit as chaotic as Chris Elliott's "It's my strong hand" from Scary Movie 2 or whatever. Like those fingers were going in all directions, and I was just like laughing and reeling at the same time because I'm sick.
And I don't want to say this, but I guess her disability kind of kept her alive because the guy really underestimated her. He said I could come in at any time I want.
Right. Yeah.
And so that probably kept her alive because he didn't give the same liberties to that other woman.
He could have that kitchen door. It was just a series of like 48 4-inch by 4-inch panes of glass. Even the wood in between it, he could have just kicked that door and been in.
Actually,
Yeah.
no. Towards the end of the movie, when he was trying to break down that door with the
Yeah, he
glass
was
panes,
whomping on that thing.
it was like it was bulletproof or something. Like he couldn't get through.
That was when he was all really injured, though.
Yeah,
Well,
but-
he had like a tire iron, right? Like
yeah. So I mean, that glass was something.
Okay.
Maybe it would have been easier to kick the door in, but like I just like that line about that. And there was times where he was
Right.
watching her. He knew she couldn't get the crossbow or the whatever that was opened up. But I don't know. I love this movie. I think it's my favorite horror film of 2016. This is weird. It's a horror film, but I think it's more of a thriller.
Oh, it's
oh yeah, definitely.
if we're going to subcategorize, I will say it is clearly 100% thriller.
Yeah,
With
and
hints of drama, a little romance.
yeah, a little romance. The two of them kind of have some Chianti.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but I like this movie. And the first time I watched it, there's a scene where her next door neighbor, he comes over, he gets stabbed in the neck, but he still rallies and almost kills the killer. He gets him in like a rear naked choke and he's choking him out. And I was wondering why Maddie didn't run out to him, but she had just been shot in the leg.
Right.
And so I was coming back from the airport the other day, and a suitcase landed on my shin, and I was limping around like an idiot. Like I had a little bump. I'm like, oh! And so I'm like barely walking around, deep, shin bruise, and so compared to getting shot in the leg with a crossbow and bleeding out, like she probably couldn't have made it out there in that amount of time. So it actually made me like that scene more because I actually had a gripe with that until I hit my shin and hopped around like an idiot. But I think this movie's really well thought out. I think these two people cared about it. Katie Siegel. Actually, I thought in the original, I thought it was the woman from Married with Children. It wasn't.
I thought so too.
And Mike Flanagan, I thought they really thought it out. I think they definitely borrowed Wait Until Dark, and they were influenced by a Buffy episode called Hush.
Yeah.
But I think what they did was they pulled a Carl Weathers from Arrested Development, where they took a lot of the leftovers and they blended it up and they made a great broth. You know what I mean? Like they made their own soup out of leftovers.
And, it didn't feel borrowed. I can identify things that were borrowed, but there's a difference that when you feel it, I guess, when you specifically notice it, as opposed to when you're thinking about the movie later and you can realize it. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't notice this stuff as I was watching it. Like, oh, this is just like this. Didn't feel like it.
I just want to say I felt, because you mentioned him, I felt bad for the neighbor. Like he seemed like such a cool guy. He came over, he was concerned for his girlfriend, and it seemed like he had like a head on his shoulders. I was like,
I don't know.
This guy's not
I think he
who
waxed his eyebrows. I didn't like him.
But he played the killer too. Like he got the rock. Like he read the situation pretty well. But then that Maddie banged on the door and he got stabbed in the neck.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. It was her fault.
Yeah, but I mean, she didn't see the killer. So when she banged on the door, I think she just saw the guy.
Yeah.
So at first I was like, why'd she bang on that? But I'm like, this for me. I guess I don't know what it's like to be a deaf person living in the middle of the wilderness being attacked by somebody. So, you criticize a lot of these things, but I got hit on my shin the other day and I was limping around like an idiot. So I think this movie is good. Like it's not too realistic and it's not hyper stylized. I just think it's a good independent film that is rightfully making waves.
I'd call it very good. In terms of entertainment value, I think it was. I think I even liked it a little more than Creep.
Yeah.
It's not Honeymoon level for me, and it's not Spring level for me. Those movies were holy Jesus awesome for me. Whereas this is just like, not only is this very good, on top of that, I get the icing. It was a very pleasant surprise. Like you said, the poster looks stupid. When I just read the premise, I'm just like, oh gosh, some deaf mute is getting stalked in a cabin in the woods. I think I'll skip that 8 times. But then all I needed to know, one, you really liked it, so that turned me. But the other thing is that knowing Mike Flanagan directed it.
Yeah.
Because I even liked Absentia, which he did a couple years before Oculus. But Oculus, I think, was way better.
Yeah, Absentia.
Yeah.
So if you're saying that if this movie had a lot of Richard Linklater like conversations, like Spring did, like with the killer and and Maddie, like they were just kind of having like really deep conversations about life. Just like you would have enjoyed it more, I guess.
Well, maybe, or squishy tentacle transformations.
Yeah, that too.
You know, it didn't have that either.
Speaking of tentacle transformations, my good buddy Dave, who lives in Austin, Texas, got me Spring on Blu-ray from Draft House Theaters. They have a vending machine with Blu-rays.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So if you guys live in Texas or you have a Draft House, go there, get Spring on Blu-ray, and there's some squishy tentacles.
Out of a vending machine.
Yeah.
And also, there's a lot of goo in Honeymoon, and there's not much goo in Hush. I think if there was goo in Hush, this might be your favorite movie ever.
Like that, it would definitely be a game changer.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not fooling around. Like, yeah, it would be a game changer for me. You start getting goo, throwing a couple tentacles. Like, I'm a happy camper.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not lying here. I go out at night looking for gooey creatures to battle, just so I can put some in a jar and send it to you.
I can just imagine you put on like a helmet and like grabbing like a shield and a sword, getting ready to do battle. Give me your goo.
Take it.
You know, and you had commented, and that's, again, it's something that, you know, but I'm on 89 movie pages on, you know, discussion groups on Facebook. So that my feed is mostly people posting things about horror movies. And these people were saying, oh, yeah, how does she live way out there and not have a gun? And you think, well, not everyone has to have a gun. But it's like, I don't know what state she was in. That actually was a big point of contention for me. Like, is she in a state where there are bears?
Yeah.
It
Like-
definitely wasn't Arizona.
Right. I mean, there was an environment that looked like you could have bears.
Yeah.
So that had me wondering, like, is she in a state that has bears? If you kind of live secluded, and I feel like you'd have a shotgun if
like
you were
a
in bear
22
country.
rifle or something.
Like, and you will probably, even if 3 or 4 bears a year are in sight of your house and one is leaning on the door and making you nervous, I still think you never, ever end up using that gun, but you have it.
Maybe she relies on her neighbors for protection because
Her neighbors are like a quarter of a mile away.
My wife said she Dr. Who'd it and didn't want to use a gun.
yeah, she had like a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. Yeah, that was one problem I had with it. But
Even all that withstanding, she's still a human, and humans do not have predictable behavior trends, right? Like, because some of us have the things that we just refuse to do, and that could have been one of them.
And like, you know how there is a naive thing. She moved from a big city, you know, so she wasn't that familiar with all that.
Sure.
And like, you know, when people have gone hiking for the first time, and like, remember in the interview when Seth Rogen goes to China and he's like, I packed like a fool. I packed like a damn fool. Like sometimes people are naive about hiking, living like. She
I
had
like
lived in the
that
city.
is the movie you use for your rational
Well,
example.
I use that all the time.
No,
I
it's great,
packed like a fool. So maybe she was naive about that kind of world.
Sure.
And so, I mean, that happens. But I think it seems like a lot of the stuff in this movie, maybe it becomes and I mean, we talk about movies, but people do become very entitled sometimes with filmmaking. And I think this film, pretty much just, you can nitpick about it.
You know, if I'm going to pick on something, I'm a little curious to see what you think of this. Like, so he didn't have a gun. He had his crossbow. It was more sporting. But he could have just used a knife, or he could have had a bow and arrow. Do you think he had a crossbow because of Daryl Dixon?
Oh, gosh. See, he didn't seem like a Walking Dead fan.
No, I don't mean the character. I mean, do you think that Mike Flanagan put a crossbow in his hand because that might attract more curious viewers because Daryl Dixon uses a crossbow and he's such a loved character?
Oh, interesting.
You know, just for the iconism that we now have for a crossbow. Because if you put a crossbow in someone's hands 10 years ago, they'd just be like, oh, well, that's interesting, right? That's an interesting choice. He's like a hunter. Whereas now, I thought straight of Daryl Dixon.
See,
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just wondering if that might have steered that choice. Because him having a crossbow, that weapon didn't add a whole lot. Like, yeah, at some point she had control of it and, you know, shot at him. But None of that really was a game changer to me in the movie. She could have gotten the upper hand in other ways, gotten hold of a knife and stabbed him in the leg. It wasn't critical.
Maybe remember when she was trying to pull it and she couldn't.
Sure, they made a great scene out of that. That's very true.
So maybe they thought about it like that.
No.
That's
That's
actually
actually
a Walking Dead
that's
fans.
actually a
You know
really
I
good
have.
point, yeah.
So I just can't. I don't even want to think about Daryl Dixon. We've dealt with so many Walking Dead fans. We're thousands of them, upon thousands.
I will say,
When they ask for his soda can after he goes on a bathroom break or
Oh,
something, like,
gosh.
did he drink from that cup? It's like, I don't care. You're not getting that cup.
Give me that cup. No.
When we were working for Wizard World, for people who don't know, working the conventions.
I will say
gosh.
that, like, if he did have a gun, because, like, Mark, you said, like, the movie didn't feel mean. Well,
Yeah.
if he did have a gun, I felt like the movie would definitely feel mean. Like, come on. She's deaf and mute. Why do you have a gun?
Yeah,
a crossbow.
exactly.
A crossbow.
that would have
That's
been
more
just.
fair.
Well, at that point, you're just trying to murder someone. There's no sport or interest
Yeah.
or
And plus, like, the killer, he had a hard time reloading it, too. Like, he always had to put it on the ground and just, like, put, like, his whole body into it. I'm like, oh, God.
And also, it didn't make noise too, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it's a good silent weapon because the neighbors, even if they lived a quarter mile away, 200 yards away, they probably would have heard a gunshot.
gun with a silencer.
Yeah, that's true.
Not that that's easy to get.
I'd
It's
have
very
hated the movie if you had a silencer
It's
on
very
that gun.
easy. No, in all fairness, though, it's very easy to get a gun. It's not easy to get a silencer.
Yeah, you could do like a bottle, a plastic bottle with duct tape over it.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of
okay.
YouTube videos teaching people how to make
What if
them.
he had, like, a rocket launcher? Would that,
That'd be amazing.
would that feel mean?
just ends the movie.
Trebuchet.
The movie is like Acts 0.5.
Oh, okay. What if he had, like, the nuclear codes?
It's just like the launch
Entered, like,
switch.
the GPS coordinates. What is it? What?
He shows up in the president's office and they each turn the key at the same time.
While he's wearing the mask.
And they kill a deaf mute girl in a random cabin.
This seems kind of overkill, man. This feels kind of mean.
See, that's why I hate the Predator. I know that sounds like sacrilege, but he has a heat-seeking cannon on his shoulder and he's invisible.
Yeah.
Like, just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, but he had very intelligent prey.
Yeah. Arnold
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger.
but like, it just seems like cheating.
Just a little bit.
Like, let him wrestle with all of them.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the Predator would still win.
Yeah, in a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Did you
Except for-
single
except
leg
for
a
Arnold.
Predator?
Sweep the leg.
How heavy is a Predator?
Oh, God. Like, some of them were big, but I mean, I feel like he was 7.5 feet tall. Well, the guy playing the Predator is over 7 feet tall in Predator.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Predator, when you add the mask and the footing, like, it's over 7.5 feet tall. That thing's got away.
Easily.
450, 500 pounds. It's pretty thick.
Yeah, you're not single legging him.
Oh, yeah.
So you're right. You're right about the seven. You remember Froggy, that photo ops guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. One time I was in Toronto with a couple buddies and we were having a good time, and he came in and just wrecked the whole night. But he brought with him one of the guys who played a Predator from AVPR.
Oh.
He was like 7'3".
Wow.
Yeah, there's some big dudes
Yeah.
playing
That
those
night-
creatures.
So now I get, maybe that's why I'm so annoyed at Predators, because I think back at that night.
Can you imagine, like, guys this size with, like, rocket launchers on their shoulders and then go invisible on you.
Yeah, come on, man. Like, you know what? Make the Predator 3 foot tall.
Yeah.
It's the Yodator.
the Predator.
From space I come.
Guys, so
Dreadlocks.
Hunt you, I will.
final verdict on not just this movie but also Honeymoon. It's
Yeah, watch him, guys. Honeymoon spelled backwards is Noom.
one. Hush
Yeah.
spelled backwards. Is
Yellow.
Noom, you know.
Hussa.
And Hush is yeah.
Hussa.
Ah. Well, you know, but again, I'm going to remind the listeners, like, it is especially, you know, if you have a film fan, well, I'm saying this to the guys, I guess, specifically to the guys. If you want to get your girlfriends or wives or lady friends to watch a horror movie with you and they generally don't like them, one thing that this brings is that both of these female roles were strong or determined or very interesting, and neither of them ever felt like properly like they were being victimized. They were chosen as victims but they weren't careless, desperate, weak. They were great, strong characters. And those and those characters drove the movie in an appropriate way. So I think that it'll get appreciation from people who are used to rolling their eyes at horror movies.
It didn't feel exploitive.
Never.
So
Not even when he yanked a 3-foot tentacle root worm out of Rose Leslie.
And then they all went into
Squish.
the jacuzzi.
oh man. Oh,
Wait, did that scene happen in that movie? Did he pull that root thing out and then throw it behind his back and then goes?
Not behind his back,
Did he throw it behind his back
or
and
did
just
he drop
stuck on the wall?
or did he drop it on the ground? Because I remember thinking, what if that thing goes somewhere? I thought, or did he stomp on it? Or
I don't. Yeah. Wouldn't that be funny if he threw it behind his back and just stuck on the wall?
and it stayed there like a gecko.
Squish, squish.
It starts sliding on.
Yeah, and then just drips all the way down the wall, and it just goo leaves behind it.
yeah.
Well, you're watching that scene with all that goo. When you had your old Rasputin in your chair and your monocle, how many tears were you crying?
Oh,
Silent, not even moving, tears. Just not like welling up. It's just one in the corner of your eye towards your nose on your right eye, just dripping single tears down.
Aw, that sounds sad.
that's very
No, but
detailed.
that's good for the horror czar.
Yeah, that actually reminds me. So I watched Inside Out last night.
Oh my gosh.
I no joke. I was watching it with another dude, and we both cried multiple, not once, not twice, multiple times.
Bing bong.
Holy Jesus, was that?
You were
movie
also
serious.
drinking a lot too, right?
Not at that point.
Oh, okay.
That movie put me through the emotional ringer.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that, I mean, from the start, like I kept looking over at my buddy who's like, "You got to watch this movie." I'm looking over. I'm like, "Is this for real? Like, kids are watching this?" But I
It's
guess they don't
Pixar, man.
understand.
It's
But
Pixar.
You know what's crazy? Talking about crying makes me think about Take Shelter, and that movie almost makes me cry just thinking about it.
I still need to see that.
Oh my god, that movie is. Listen, folks. The 3 best movies of the 21st century are Bloody Sunday, Take Shelter, and Goon,
Nice.
Oh dear.
or The Guard, or Calvary,
I'm using my podcasting veto.
or Once,
Yeah. All right, guys.
or Hot Fuzz.
It's time to wrap up the podcast because
No Shining.
Leavengood here is about to. I think he's about to burst in flames.
I'm melting.
He's gonna become goo.
I'm turning into goo.
Yeah.
Very
I'll
muscular
bet
glue.
that I have like armpit from under cheese.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh,
I can smell it.
Like it's like this clear gelatin.
you could run into a wall and just stick to it right now.
Well, before we sign off, are there any plugs?
Hey,
you wanna make?
I want to give a little plug. About a month and a half ago, Crash Palace Productions, they do a horror podcast. They gave us a nice shout out in their episode on Green Room. They're pretty good quality group, and they promote us a little bit when they like one of our articles. They're not shy about it, so we really appreciate them over at Crash Palace. And thanks.
Oh, they referenced the Green Room review?
No, it was in their Green Room episode that they
Oh.
gave us a shout out.
Oh, nice. Because
And,
I said that's the top 5 of this year so far. I
that-
love that
I
movie.
think
That's
they
the top
got
3.
I think they got to it before you got your review up.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah, but I mean, they really like some of our stuff, and sometimes they'll come to me. They'll, "Oh, John," on Twitter, like, "Your article on this was really great." I'm like, "Oh, that's great. That was actually my buddy Mark who started the webpage who wrote that." And they're like, "Oh." It's like I've got to remind them that just because it was horror, it doesn't mean that I wrote it.
Oh yeah, that 10 films that you can unite the hardcore and
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
people were coming-
I was honored, man. He's a good horror voice, so I'm glad he gave us props.
Yeah,
So
like
Crash Palace, we like you guys.
Yeah.
Don't be stealing my Green Room stuff.
Yeah.
That's a great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
And obviously, you can find us moviesfilmsandflicks.com. That's FLIX Flicks. And Movies, Films, Flicks on Twitter, and MFF Horror Corner on Twitter. And I'm even on Instagram just for our horror stuff and our podcast.
Oh, nice.
So check us out. We're Googling all over the internet.
And then if you guys need someone to come to your birthday parties, your quinceañeras, your weddings, John is a wonderful comedian who Lazarvath is a comedian who plays the kazoo. So he'll do all your shows. So lazarvath.com/, comic genius.
I'd like to point out that I saw Lazavath's improv class do a showcase, like, at a theater in St. Petersburg a few days ago. That was so I saw Lazavath on stage going pro.
It was nothing. I don't know what you're going on about.
I still want you on the podcast to reenact what you told us about when you were John McEnroe delivering a baby.
That's you can't plan that, man.
You cannot be serious.
You can.
Did you jump 15 feet in the air and hang out with some Rastafarians?
Listen, Shia LaBeouf's got nothing on.
I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm gonna keep saying it, and then like after like a year and 30 more episodes where I reference it, like people will just start writing in like when is Lazavath gonna do that?
It's not something you can plan, man.
I'm gonna get a Kickstarter for it.
Yeah, please do.
I'm gonna start a Kickstarter just for that.
We'll set some stretch goals too.
Well, we'll do an improv pod where Lazavath tells us what we're going to talk about, then we plan it meticulously, then we pretend to improv it.
I think that's every show that we do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to talk about cookies.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought that was the movie theme.
Some cookies are kind of gooey, if you think about it.
yeah. I mean, right out the oven. I mean, that thing kind of came out the oven.
In all fairness, though, if you ever find a cookie with a tentacle, you put that cookie down.
And if
Or
you
just
guys can
eat it.
find a clip of whether he smushes that little thing out of her,
Her abortion worm.
yeah, just
Lovely.
add some special effects to it. Super gooey.
All right, guys. Time to say goodbye. For my co-host, Mark Hoffmeyer.
John Leavengood.
John Leavengood.
Kurt Russell.
Thank you so much for listening.
We're above the target. T-minus 5 seconds till shark drop. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the shark! Go! 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 This podcast is a Shark Dropper Studios production.